everyone. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm Lara Stone, and I'm the chair of the Dartmouth Education Foundation, and I am joined here tonight to award teacher grants from our organization. And just want to turn to my left to introduce my fellow advisory council. And I will start on the far end, Rachel Cherrier, Dr. Shannon Jenkins, who's also a member of the school committee, Dr. Rambala, and then in the back row, far left, of my left, is Dr. Carol Karafotis, Stephen Witzig, and Mary Waite. And Mary is also a member of the Dartmouth School Committee. So it's our absolute pleasure to be here this afternoon, and we are going to invite some folks to come up and share a bit about what we funded, but I just want to take a quick minute and give you some information. I'm not sure if everyone knows the history of the Dartmouth Education Foundation, but we were founded in 2007 to supplement teaching and learning in the Dartmouth Public Schools. We fund somewhere between $10,000 and $16,000 annually, and we are a permanently endowed fund of the South Coast Community Foundation. So there are many organizations in this region throughout Bristol County and a little bit beyond who have scholarship funds, who have endowed funds for different kinds of projects, and we are one of them. So we always like to acknowledge John Vasconcellos, who's president and CEO of the South Coast Community Foundation, Sarah Rose, who's their director of engagement. I also want to acknowledge our partners in all of this process here in the Dartmouth Public Schools, Dr. Bonnie Gifford, superintendent, Jim Kiley, assistant superintendent of finance and operations, Jonathan Galashaw, who's not here today, but the chief technology officer, Tracy Oliveira, director of curriculum and instruction, and also I see Mike Martin, who's here in the back, and also Ross. Is also here, principal of Dartmouth High School. So thank you so much for hosting us here at the high school, and we're so grateful to have the partnership that we do. So we will award this year, we had about 19 folks apply for funding. We were able to fund 10. And as most of you know, we have all been very impacted by COVID, but we were able to continue to raise funds during a global pandemic. We did it a little differently, and we did not host an in-person adult spelling bee, but we went out and appealed to those who sponsor and have given annually for a long time and who care about the teaching and learning in the Dartmouth Public Schools. So we did an annual appeal, and we had some operating funds that remained, and we were able to still move forward with grant funding for this year. That said, drum roll, I'm very excited to announce that we are going to do an in-person spelling bee, but we've switched from this fall to March 24th of 2022, and we will be back in the auditorium here at Dartmouth High School. Thank you again for hosting us, and we'll do the kind of outreach for sponsorship and teams and partner with the community the way that we always have, and we're excited to be able to do that. So that's the one big fundraiser that we do annually, that we engage the community in, and it's what allows us to do the kinds of teacher awards that we're doing here today. So we're happy to bring that back eventually. It will be our 10th annual, but it will have skipped 2 years. So mostly annual. We're going to call it a mostly annual. The thing we say about signing up, we're going to put that flyer out. It'll start to go out to teachers, and you'll be able to share it. Dr. Gifford will get it, and it'll go down through all the schools. And that allows folks, we say, first come, early flight. So the minute you sign up, the closer you are to the beginning of the evening in terms of your flight being called. So people seem to like that when we've done that before. Okay, so grant awards. I will start now, and I'm going to start with Mr. Parati and two of his students, Holly Raposo and Nick Mastrangelo, who are going to come up and talk to us about the work that they're doing here at Dartmouth High School and what the grant is going to fund. And then they're going to go back to filming the rest of tonight's presentation. So, Mr. Parati, if you could come up. And this is your certificate.
So most of the credit for this particular grant goes to these two fine students, Holly Raposo and Nick Mastrangelo, who actually worked on this grant on their own time and during the PACE period. We took a look at our growing studio. We keep adding to our studio. It's amazing. I was just showing some of the people in attendance our new lighting that we installed, and actually Nick helped me today experiment with some of that lighting. We're actually doing our version of The Masked Singer, which is coming up, working with the chorus department coming up in the next month or so. But it was their idea, where they said, Mr. Pride, this dry erase wall, we kind of don't use it anymore. It's kind of like old technology, so to speak. What can we do to enhance the studio and make it look more modern technology? So they came up with the idea of a video wall, and I'm going to let Holly's going to speak about what she actually had to do to write the grant and figure out how we were going to go move forward with actually figuring out. And I didn't know anything about the equipment. And it was these two people here who actually did most of the legwork, research, and figure out what we needed. And they were amazing. And to see that come to light now and come to actually, we actually have the TVs are on their way here, but it's going to be a 6 TV video wall. It's going to be amazing. So I'm going to turn this over to Holly and let her speak.
Hi, I'm Holly Raposo. I'm a junior here at Dartmouth High School, and I've been part of DHS TV Media since my freshman year, so 3 years now. I was one of the leads on this project, and I have never made a grant before, but the research and being able to go into the time and really look up about what we can do to improve and have a better learning experience for everyone and do better in our classroom just to make it a more technology friendly place. And since we didn't use the whiteboard anymore, there was no point for it and might as well just make a big TV wall. So I had a part in researching all the technology that would go into it. We also have new lighting that it would make it a more surreal experience. And I was just happy to be having such a great part in that. So thank you.
And Nick, actually, like I said, his role in it was mainly working on the lighting, and he helped me. We actually installed some of the lights, this past week or so, and we had to hang all the lighting, make it look correct in terms of the focusing of the lights, and have them aimed in the right direction. And it was actually Nick kind of had to figure out the whole board. I had no idea how to program the board. And the board did not come with any manuals. So Nick figured it all out. He was actually, it was miraculous. He figured the entire thing out, how to control the lighting, and now we know exactly what to do. And it's these guys who do, they're the ones doing it. I'm just there kind of to make sure that I guess it's happening right and happening correctly. But we're looking forward. We're also working with Mr. Bosworth and Mr. Giat. The plan is to create future programming like their esports program. We want to live stream some of their events in our studio. So we're growing every year. We're growing, and we're actually adding more to production. We have a student who's actually doing a full-fledged talk show this year called Ryanology, and that's going very well this year, where we're interviewing students and staff. We just had the students from the string and orchestra program come on, and that show was actually released this past weekend. So it's amazing. And we have now former students who are going on to colleges. I have a freshman who's at Emerson, Caden Lisa, who went through the program from his freshman year all the way through his senior year. He's now a freshman at Emerson, and he sends me photos every day. Mr. Proddy, you won't believe what I'm working on now. And he's always sending me messages about he's actually working on a TV show at Emerson, and he's very involved at Emerson. So goes to show you that what the students are learning here, they're applying it after Dartmouth High School, and it's thanks to the DEF for their kind and generous grants that you have funded us throughout the year. We couldn't have done it without you guys, seriously, because if we didn't have the proper equipment, we couldn't produce what we're producing now. And this is only going to add to bigger and better things that we can do. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. I know the students really appreciate it. They love it every day, just coming in and having the tools and having the proper equipment to experiment with and learn how to use and know that they're going to be using this in the future. I think it's very rewarding, very rewarding. And thank you again. Thanks.
So Heather Noyes Fredette, why don't you come up and share what you are up to? And here is your certificate. You're welcome.
Hello, I'm Heather Noyes Fredette. I'm the occupational therapist at DeMello Elementary School. That's one of the spots that I live, among others. My DEF grant was to provide DeMello with a sensory space. We were the only school in the district that didn't have sensory equipment, and people take for granted when you can regulate your own sensory system, how hard it is for little ones who, one, can't do that on their own, and two, aren't allowed to just run around the room to regulate themselves, on how the lack of vestibular and proprioceptive equipment is so essential to them being able to access their curriculum. So this grant allowed me to be able to create a space along with Mr. Kiley coming to DeMello and finding a space, which is like a needle in the haystack in some of our buildings. So being able to identify a space that could become our sensory room is now our therapy office where OT and speech live. It has a trampoline, we have tire swings, we have a linear swing. So with the equipment that I was provided, including mats for safety, I'm able to provide any kid that with any type of vestibular and proprioceptive input that they need to be able to take a quick break and then get back to learning. So I really thank you. My children and my students needed it so badly, and flying up and down the hallway on a scooter board just didn't cut it, and I couldn't be out of commission trying to swing a 100-pound kid in a blanket. So I thank you so much for providing that to us, and it's invaluable. So thank you so much.
Hello, I am Trisha Leary. I am the Instructional Tech Specialist at the Quinn School. I would like to thank the DEF for your continued support for our students and community in the Dartmouth Public Schools. The project that I had put in for this year was for a Cricut maker and a heat press, which not a lot of people probably have heard it before or heard of it before, know what it does. It has a variety of purposes and tasks that it can complete. If you think about like old tech or low tech die cut machines where we would put construction paper and pull the lever and out comes an A or out comes a shape of some kind, that would kind of be the foundation for what eventually would become a more technologically advanced Cricut machine, which can cut a variety of shapes and letters and phrases and really whatever your mind can come up with. And it also can cut a variety of different materials, which means that we can put things through the Cricut machine to create statements, growth mindset type of statements, PBIS kind of statements for positive growth and thinking throughout the building. We can print or cut manipulatives for students to use in the classroom. We can create interactive bulletin boards. We can create things such as sensory paths for students going down different areas of our building. So it basically will be able to branch out into all areas of our school, as well as be used by all members of our school for a variety of purposes. So we'll be working closely with all the different kind of key players in the building and how they might be able to take this machine and use it to create anything they can think of that supports instruction, practice, and teaching and learning at Quinn School. So thank you so much.
Trisha, you can take that. You're welcome. Okay, so the next grant recipients are Samantha Richards and Lindsay Ribbing. And I have a certificate for each of you. They're right here.
Hi. So I'm Samantha, and this is Lindsay. We're both preschool teachers over at Cushman School. And our grant was to add something to our playground. And, you know, we've kind of always talked about how the Cushman playground is a little bit lacking. And especially for Cushman preschool program, we're an inclusion program. So we thought really hard about what we could add to our playground that could include all students of all abilities and something that any kid can engage in. So we really wanted a sandbox we talked about, but we actually, through our research, found an elevated sand table so that if any students were in a wheelchair, they can wheel right underneath and play with it. So it's really accessible to all students. I don't know if you want to add more.
Yeah, just what Sam said, and really to touch on same thing that Heather said. We have a bunch of students with sensory needs, and again with the sand table, it's so fun to see all of the kids participate in sand. We have sand tables in our classroom, but to have it outside is just a totally different experience. So we're excited to get that on our playground. Thank you so much for your help with that.
I think it'll be really nice when we see, you know, outside and seeing all the kids from all the different classrooms being able to utilize it together rather than in our own classrooms where we kind of have something much smaller. And like, this is going to just take that learning from in the classroom and bring it outside to more social, you know, piece to the playground. So we really appreciate it. We're really excited to get it. I know it's on order, so we thank you guys so much for that. You know, everything's taken forever to come in, but hopefully soon. And we thank you guys. It wouldn't be possible without you, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
And Michael Freitz.
Hi, my name is Mike Freitz. I'm one of the wellness teachers at the high school, and basically we wanted to offer something new to the students. So we got some ping pong tables. It was something we had years ago. I'm kind of showing my age here, like 20 years ago when this place was built. They never made their way here, so the middle school kind of inherited them. So we figured the grant would be a great way to kind of get them because they're not cheap. So, you know, we were able to get 4 of them. We have 6 altogether. Our goal is 10. I think it'll be something that the kids will enjoy, something different. It'll impact all the students. We're in the process of putting them together now with the help of some of the engineering students because there's a lot of parts. But hopefully we'll get that up and running and you know, it's just something different, something we haven't had in a while, and we're always looking to expand and offer the kids something different. So thank you very much, and hopefully we get those things up and running soon. Thank you.
I love the partnership with the engineering students. That's great. Okay, the final award tonight is for Eric Bosworth and Brian Giat. I'm going to have you both come up, and there's a certificate for each of you.
My name's Brian. I'm a computer science teacher here at Dartmouth High, and Eric and I last year started the esports club. And if you're not sure what esports is, it's competitive video games. And I'm sure if any of you have children, you know that they love to play the video games nowadays. But esports has blown up in the last 15, 20 years. There's a massive professional scene, lots of money being thrown around. And that has trickled its way down into the college scene where colleges are recruiting kids to come play video games at their schools competitively. And within the last 5, 10 years, I think, well, probably closer to 5 years, it's trickled down into the high school level where we have the Massachusetts School Administrators Association. They run a regular season and playoff tournaments for certain video games. And we got some of our students involved in that last year. it's just a, every kid is playing games, and it's a good way to get, a different subset of kids involved at the school and competing. We recently just had a game against Stang in one of the video games, so we're playing against the Stangs, the Westports, and it's really cool to see them compete. And with this type of grant, so I will say this, I'll back up, and kids right now are pretty much playing from home on their own systems, and with this type of grant, our goal is to create a space where kids can come here and practice and play against other schools rather than be separated at home. I don't know if you want to say anything.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Mr. Tebow, who's really responsible. He's the one who came to us last year and said, hey, how about this esports thing? I hear it's something. I wouldn't have believed it myself. We put feelers out last year. During a pandemic, it was a really weird year, and we had so many kids say, yes, we need this. So now we have currently 4 teams who are competing. We have one team that is tied for first place in Smash Brothers Ultimate, which is terrific. But we also have a large group of kids who come to the club and don't want to compete, but they just come because it's a space where they can, fit in, maybe where they didn't fit in anywhere else. And so that's really great. So yeah, we really appreciate this grant. We're gonna put this money to good use to really make a home, because these kids are practicing every day, a lot of times in pace. As teachers, we're making sure that their academics are where they're supposed to be first, and then esports second, just like any other sport. So it's great incentive. And then, they're also playing after school. We meet on Tuesdays. They have competitive matches on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So it'll be great to have a space with the right equipment to do what we need to do. And it'll be great to, every once in a while, collaborate with Mr. Parati. And when we have some big matches, go in there and use the lights and the fog machine and all that. It's going to be really cool. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we'll be sure that folks who couldn't join us tonight get their certificate. I'll just remind people that it sounds like almost everyone has ordered their equipment and is waiting for it to come in, or it's already come in. But if you have any questions, I'll go ahead and say that Mr. Kiley can help you with that. And the funds come in from the South Coast Community Foundation directly to the district, and then purchasing happens all through his expertise and devoted tracking of all of that. So if you need any help, if you have a question about when something's supposed to come in, or I'm sure you all know how to do that, and bug him. So be sure to follow up if you have any questions. So again, we are so grateful and so happy to be here and do this with you. We are going to ask if everyone would be willing. We're going to step outside to the front apron so we can take off our masks and be outdoors for a group photo. And we have a reporter here who is happy to take a photo. And I would love if we could have Dartmouth administration join us for that photo, and we'll just all do that right now. Yes.
We also asked that if they have pictures, I would love to have them
Oh,
for thank you cards.
yes.
Thank you.
So we would love it if you would forward photographs to us so that we can see your projects in action. So as soon as it comes in, or as soon as you're doing anything, or even if you've already gotten started on meeting with your students, or one of the tables is put together, go ahead and send us photographs, and we send that out to our donors so we can say thank you, and we can keep that nice funding flowing. So I think I did it all. Again, save the date, March 24th, first come, early flight. Okay, so we're going to head outside and take our quick photograph. Thank you, everyone.